Hello everybody, my name is Anti-MS. I sometimes DM for various tabletop role-playing games, and right now in this time of COVID, a virtual tabletop application is kind of a must if you want to play tabletop role-playing games. So, there are several options out there. There's Roll20, there's Fantasy Forge, so on and so on. But there's kind of a lack of open source offerings. There is at least one that I know of, but it's a little light on features, so I wanted to perhaps put another offering out there for the world to use so that there are more offerings out there. Also, one thing I want in a virtual tabletop application is to be able to do things on the fly. I don't want necessarily to have to go find maps beforehand, before my sessions, in order to be able to, run encounters or have locations, things like that. I'd like, in most cases, I want to be able to just draw in the virtual tabletop application, draw the map as I go. And so that's kind of a focus of this application. So at this point, it's kind of to the point where it can maybe be demoed, and so I wanted to put together a demo video for it, just to kind of show where it is at the moment, where it might be going. Gotta remember what password I used for it. So I've got it running on my own machine at the moment. Notice this localhost, and I've got it loaded in two different browsers. This is Firefox over here. This is Chromium if you're interested. And I'm logging into two different user accounts. So I just kind of want to show you that as you do things over here, they show up pretty well instantly over here, as should be the case with any virtual tabletop application. At this point, it's asking me which campaign I want to get into. Notice this user only has one, this one has two, but there's one that they both share. So I'm going to go into the one that they both share. And I'm greeted with a blank screen. Why is that? Well, I've got a default scene here, but the scene is not populated with anything yet. I have to put something on it to make anything show up, so I'm going to add a map. And for purposes of this demo, I'm going to create a simple, just a tavern. We'll call it the Battle Axe Inn. Add a bar here. I'm going to add some chairs. I'm just adding these, just using this color as a placeholder for chairs. We'll add another table over here. And maybe there's a back room. I'm going to add a door. I want this door to be black. Might as well also add doors at the entrance. Let's say the entrance is over here. In order to make this other door, I'm just going to clone the one that I have, but flip it horizontally first. And now I have the doors to the tavern. What is a tavern, though, without a bartender? So just to have a bartender, I'm going to grab an image. This is just straight from Wikipedia. Main reason I'm using images from Wikipedia is because they are in the public domain. This one in particular is, at least. And I'm going to add an image. Now, I'm going to paste the URL. In the background, when I hit fetch here, the application is going to go fetch that image from whatever URL I gave it, in this case from Wikipedia. And now I've got this image in here. So I'm going to make a new token for him. I'm going to put him on the table. Now, once he's here, there are a few options you can choose here. I can adjust the token so that I can make it, zoom in on his face better, let's say. And now he belongs up here behind the bar. I'm going to show him over here just to show you that he's here as well. And we need a patron. So for a patron, I'm going to use Gandalf. He'll sit at the end of the bar. All right. So, although this application is kind of made for on the fly, there's no particular reason why, if you want to, you can't go ahead and use a pre-made map. So, I'm going to show you that now. So here, this scene lets you make new locations to make a map in, or locations where your PCs might visit. So I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to use this map over here, which is called Tomb of the Dread Barons. I just found this with some Googling. It's by this person named Thomas, and I'm using it because it is in the public domain. Placing it into the public domain. So I'm going to copy the image location. Right, and then I'm going to grab the image, and I've got the map here. Let's go ahead and put it on the table. Done. Now I'm going to zoom way in because it's quite small at the moment. And I'm going to lock it. Locking it just makes sure that you can't drag it around accidentally. Let's go ahead and add Gandalf. I zoomed in far too much. Let's undo some of that. Come on. There's that. All right, that's about right. That's good enough. And we'll add our dwarf as well. And where are we? So since it's locked, I can drag this, and it drags the canvas, drags the table rather than the image alone. If it's unlocked, then it drags just the image, which isn't what I want in this case. I'm going to lock it again. All right, and let's say in this dungeon, just to give you a more interesting example of what you can do with a drawing, I'm going to add a pentagram on the floor in this room. And given that we're in the dungeon, we definitely need some enemies. I'm going to go over here and grab an image of a goblin. And make a new token for him. And I'm going to make a couple clones of him, just so I have a small band of goblins here. Now, let's say our dwarf runs up here and attacks this one, and does enough damage. I'm going to adjust this guy while I'm here. And does enough damage to bring his hit points below half of his total hit points, which in some systems is known as being bloodied. I'm going to mark him as bloodied just using this red outline. That's just an option that's available for any token. And let's say our wizard comes in and casts Stinking Cloud or something similar. We can mark these guys sickened with these green outlines just as well. One other thing I want to show you. So let's say I want a troll. Right? And I want to make a new token, but I want to trolls are large creatures, so they are 2 by 2. And I'm going to zoom in on this one here. So now I've got a troll token, but he's sleeping. So I'm going to say, I'm going to call this particular token, Troll Sleeping. Instead of putting this right on the table, I'm going to show you that there is a way, if you want to just kind of keep these in reserve so that you have them when you want them, but you don't have to put them on the table until such time as you're ready. So maybe these guys, they make their way down this hallway, and the troll is in here. Let's look in the pocket. I just created this. I'm going to clone it to the table now, and here it is. All right. So let's see. I think that is about all I wanted to show you. Account here, this section is just for things like logging out and changing your password. Yeah. Oh, there is one more thing I do want to show you. So if this scenes section, scenes are a per user thing. So this user over here owns all the scenes in this list. There's only 2 in the list at the moment. This user here has no scenes at all, but can make a new scene if they want to. If the campaign, yes, you can, when you want to switch to a particular scene, you can do that just for you. So you can work on something just completely separately from everybody else if you want to. But also, this for everybody, if you click that, it will make that scene load for everybody who is who's currently on that particular campaign. So that gives the DM, generally it would be the DM that would be dealing with scenes mostly, but it gives the DM the ability to move everybody to a particular area, a particular new scene, a particular dungeon level, a particular tavern, something like that. But it only actually changes for those people who are currently on the campaign scene. So if let's say I make a new scene over here. And I'll put a map on it just because. Very simple map. There we go, that's the map. If I'm not on the scene that is currently the campaign scene, then I can, then if the DM, let's say, changes the scene for everybody, it only changes for those who are currently looking at the campaign scene. But anyone can go to the campaign scene by clicking that campaign scene button. Right? Alrighty, so there are definitely a lot of things missing from this application so far. Public dice rolls are not a thing I've implemented yet. Fog of War, line of sight, things like that aren't anything that I've implemented yet. I'm kind of wanting to keep it fairly simple. I don't want to go to litter it with too many features. But yeah, I haven't fully decided what to do about Fog of War and Line of Sight yet. I'm guessing probably I won't implement Line of Sight. That seems like a lot of work. But aside from that, well, like a beacon, for instance, that lets one player kind of direct everybody else's attention to a particular location. Direct messages, just in case, let's say, the DM wants to send a message to one particular player, like if only one particular player notices something, let's say only one player got their perception check, for instance, and so only one player notices something, you can send private messages to one. That's something I haven't implemented yet, but probably will soon. All right, I think that's basically all I wanted to talk about. This application, so far, it just has a working title. It's called Go VTT because it's written in the Go programming language, and so Go Virtual Tabletop. That seemed like the most obvious name for the moment. It may have a different name sometime in the future. We'll see. But for now, this is where it is so far. I just kind of wanted to give a demo of it. I will try to keep everybody on my channel kind of informed as to what state it's in, and hopefully it will be open sourced sometime in the pretty near future. The code base is a bit of a mess, so I do want to do some housekeeping on that, make it a little cleaner, make it a little bit more in line with best practices, things like that, before I actually open source it. But and I may have a chance sometime fairly soon to kind of play test it and make sure, get some better ideas what's going to be more useful when you're actually at the table playing the game. So, but anyway, until next time, thank you everybody for watching.